Never. Black lives don't ever matter to Democrats. Only black votes do. They think that they're entitled to our vote, that they don't have to earn it. And so I'm proud to be black, but I'm more proud to be an American. And honestly, I'm proud to never have ever voted for a Democrat any day in my 20.
Stop scrolling. You need to hear what this 23-year-old just said on live TV. He's exposing a massive political bait and switch that most people are too afraid to even mention. This isn't about race. It's about who actually respects your vote.
To be a black conservative, I think the biggest myth is that we're the sellouts, but we're actually the ones that function in our freedom. We're unafraid. Wow. It takes an incredible amount of courage and bravery to go against your family, to go against what everyone in your community is saying. Those people right there are the problem. And you're like, no, I don't believe that. And just to piggyback off what he said, I don't mind. I dare you to judge me by the color of my skin. There's nothing wrong with the color of my skin. Underestimate me at your peril.
I see you, April.
Did you catch that look on April's face? She just completely dismantled the sellout narrative in under 60 seconds. It's wild how the loudest voices in the room are often the ones who haven't spent a single day in these communities. She's pointing out a massive irony. White liberals claiming they know more about the black experience than black people themselves. Look at the confidence when she talks about critical thinking. She isn't just reading a script, she's calling out a programming loop that's been running for decades. When she says, "Underestimate me at your peril," she's talking to every institution that thinks they own a specific demographic's mind. You can feel the energy in the room shift because she's hitting on a psychological truth. The bravest thing you can do today is think for yourself, especially when your own community is being told to view you as the enemy. It's a total power move.
Times piece written after the last election lays out how the Harris-Walz campaign didn't even bother to court the black vote until it was too late. Here's a quote. The chairman of a county Democrat party in rural Georgia with many black voters said this: the Harris campaign's Get Out the Vote operation had been non-existent, even as he had pleaded for resources. He told the Times, quote, they did nothing, absolutely nothing. They thought those black voters are going to come home. They will vote for Kamala Harris regardless because she is a black woman.
This is the smoking gun that most mainstream outlets wanted to bury. The New York Times, not exactly a conservative fan club, is admitting that the campaign didn't even bother to show up in rural Georgia until it was way too late. Why? Because of pure entitlement. They assumed these voters would just come home because of identity politics. But look at the data. People aren't voting based on a checkbox anymore. They're voting based on their bank accounts and their families' futures. It's a brutal wake-up call. When you stop earning the vote and start expecting it, you've already lost the room. That non-existent operation in Georgia is a perfect microcosm of why the political map is shifting so drastically right now. People are tired of being a given on someone's spreadsheet while their local economy is struggling.
That you have said about Black History Month in particular, and why you think that it's incredibly important now for us to recognize it, but to also know the truth.
Yeah, the truth is, for so long, every time you've had a conversation about Black History Month, it's always been us focusing on the oppression, focusing on slavery. And it's not that that storyline is not true, but it's something interesting that President Trump recently said. He wanted to focus on the triumph, the valor, the way that we showed up in the first Rhode Island and during the Revolutionary War and fought side by side with white men for the independence of this country. Those are the things that I want to focus on. The Buffalo Soldiers, or the 54th Massachusetts, who fought in the Civil War. They fought and labored alongside other Americans to demonstrate that this country is as much ours as ever.
Pay close attention to what April is doing here with history. She's pivoting the entire conversation away from the oppression-only narrative. Think about how we're usually taught Black history. It's almost always framed through the lens of what was done to the community. But she's bringing up the Buffalo Soldiers and the Revolutionary War. She's talking about triumph and valor. This is a huge shift in mindset. It's moving from a victim identity to a victor identity. When you focus on the fact that these men fought side by side for independence, it changes the way you view your place in the country. It makes the American dream something you've already paid for in blood, not something you're asking permission to join. That's a dangerous idea for anyone who relies on keeping people feeling small and dependent.
I think when you talk about Black history, you have to talk about all history, not history that is filtered through the lens of how someone views their politics, but the actual reality of what happened. Black Republicans, Black conservatives play a huge role in Black history. I don't think it actually gets enough attention.
Why do you think it doesn't?
I think it's by intention. I think many on the left would rather those in the Black community see themselves as victims and never as victors. But when you look at Black history, there's no way to actually celebrate it without looking at the contributions of Black businessmen, Black billionaires, Black inventors. All of those things are a part of not just our history, but American history. But to go even further, when you talk about the inclusion of Black conservatives in Black history, you look at the teachings of folks like, Booker T. Washington and Martin Luther King Jr., who implored the Black community to work hard, to play by the rules, and to believe that the content of our character matter a lot more than the color of our skin. Those are conservative values. The left tells Black Americans that the most important thing to us is the color of our skin. The right says the most important thing about you is the fact that you're an American and you want to work hard and achieve the American dream.
Well, when you want to control somebody, you tell them that's the most important thing about you to you.
This part of the panel gets into the content of character versus color of skin debate, and it's fascinating to see Booker T. Washington's teachings brought back to the forefront. The argument being made here is that the left focuses on the skin because that's how you control a group, while the right focuses on the individual because that's how you build a leader. It's a heavy distinction. Notice how they're linking conservative values, hard work, playing by the rules, entrepreneurship, directly to the success of Black billionaires and inventors. They're basically saying that the most pro-Black thing you can be is someone who doesn't need a government program to succeed. It's about agency. When you tell someone the most important thing about them is their race, you're basically putting a ceiling on their potential. They're tearing that ceiling down.
Myths I've heard is that we're looking for acceptance, that Black conservatives are looking for acceptance from white people. The bottom line is if we needed acceptance, we'd actually be Democrats because that's their attitude. We should be accepted and included. When really, in my mind, Black voters just want economic freedom. The Republican Party continues to lead with that message, which is why they've been attracting young Black men. We already know the 10-point shift away from Democrats to Republicans over the past 4 to 5 years. And I think the results tell the story. Economic freedom is what our focus is on.
This is the bottom line: economic freedom over social acceptance. This panelist is cutting through all the noise to say that Black men specifically are shifting because they're chasing the bag, not a pat on the back from elite social circles. If one party offers you inclusion and the other offers you a path to business ownership, which one are you picking? The 10-point shift in the last 4 years proves that the economic message is winning. It's about the reality of the grocery store and the gas station. When you stop looking for acceptance from people who don't live your life, you start making moves that actually benefit your family. That's the real quiet riot happening in the polls right now. The game is changing, and the old playbooks aren't working anymore. If you want more deep dives into what's actually happening behind the headlines, hit that follow button. Peace.